Are there certain things that you would like in your life that will help contribute to the quality of life that you want? Things that will make you feel happier and even add value to your life. Something that you can do on a regular basis that brings happiness to your life. But you haven't taken action to get them because you can't get your mind to say that it's okay to have them. Now, we all have messed up thoughts, and sometimes they just get the best of us, and that's just the truth. But there are things that we can do in order to get the things that we want. In this video, I'm going to share with you some steps to help you to take action to get the things you want, to get from where you are to where you want to be. And the best part about it is, we all can use these same steps. Now the clock is ticking, so let's get started. Join me at Man on a Mission to learn how to bring your steps into action to get from where you are to where you want to be. Hey everyone, this is Milton. Thank you so much for joining me here today at Man on a Mission, where we talk about having a positive mindset, wealth management, men's health, podcast, and everyday life. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about the steps you can do in order to take action to get from where you are to where you want to be. Now, we all have watched and seen so many wonderful motivational speeches and videos, speeches by Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, and so many others. And we wonder, how can they do it, but I can't? Now, what's the thing that's stopping me from getting to where they are? What am I doing that's not allowing me to get there? First thing, we have to shake off a few things to say that we can't take action. Most people will just give up and think they can never achieve this success. The great Nelson Mandela said, "There's no passion to be found playing small and selling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living." We have to allow ourselves to live the lives that we're capable of living and not be confined to our inability to change our mindset and our thoughts. However, those with a positive mindset and the willingness to change and understand that they can do it, they will watch, they will learn, and they will act because they've made the decision that they want it and they want to get it done. They've acknowledged the fact that they want to get something done, and they're going to put in the time and the work to get it done. And we have to remember, the clock is ticking, so we need to get going, taking steps, getting action. So what does taking action look like? Now let's be honest, it's not an overnight success, it's a process, because we all have our own strengths and we all have our own weaknesses that we have to figure out. Now some of these strengths will help us, some of these weaknesses will hinder us, but we have to figure out how to get through them. So when you get ready to take action, you ask a few simple questions. What do I want? Why do I want it? And why don't I have it? Now if you don't know what you want, you don't know what you're trying to get. If you don't know why you want it, you don't know what it's going to take to get it. So those are some of the barriers that we deal with in the beginning. The what's and the whys. Why do I want it? What do I want? Once we get through those, we can begin planning the steps and actions that we need to take. Now, some people have a lot of barriers when they first start out. Some of it may be that they may think that they're an overthinker. They overthink things. They think things too long. They waste too much time trying to figure things out instead of going ahead and getting them done. Anxiety steps in for some folks. Some folks get anxiety, panic attacks, and get stuck because of their anxiety. It's too much. And some just don't have any confidence. Their confidence is so low that they just don't feel like they deserve it. They don't deserve anything better than what they have. So you have to ask yourself, if you're not actively working for those things to happen in your life, how do you expect them to happen? There's a biblical saying that faith without works is dead. You have to be actively pursuing something in order to see it come to fruition, to see it happen. You can't just say you want it to happen and do nothing. So we're going to talk today about the steps you can do to make those things happen. So let's get into these steps, because I know this is what you came to hear. You wanted to hear the steps. You didn't want to hear all this speech about why I can't and what all of this looks like and all of that. You want to hear what the steps are. So let's get started. So the first step is you have to change your behavior. The first step is changing your behavior. So changing your behavior deals with your thoughts, your beliefs, the way you act. Until you change your behavior, nothing is really going to change. You may do one thing differently for a little while and you still a little result and you say, oh, I'm doing good. But if you don't continue that process of changing that behavior, you're going to run right back into the same situation from where you started. You can't be afraid of change. Now, change is a part of life that it takes time, it takes the process. Instead of being scared and fighting against it, you have to learn to embrace change. So what are some of the things that you can do to embrace change? You can do some positive things. You can start by having positive thoughts, letting go of the regrets or failures of your past. Live in the moment and accept you for who you are and where you are at the moment. I like to tell a story about a pair of shoes. I bought a pair of shoes a few weeks ago. My old shoes were okay. Nothing really wrong with them. It was just time to get a pair of new shoes because I needed a little bit more endurance and a little more stability. So when I got the shoes, now when you buy shoes, you buy them, you put them on, you try them on in the store, and they feel good. So when I bought the shoes, I started putting them on. I started wearing them, and they didn't feel good at first. I mean, they hurt my foot, and I was a little hesitant to say, maybe I don't like these shoes. But over time, they started getting comfortable. They started feeling better. They started making my foot feel good, and I was able to do the things that I wanted to do. This is the reason why I purchased them. So what am I saying? I'm saying that change takes time. And if we're not willing to invest the time into change, to change our thoughts, our actions, and our behaviors, then nothing will happen. Because if I'd have said those shoes hurt my foot, I'm through with them, I would have never given them the chance to show what they were bought for. And that was to help me walk and to be able to do the things I need to do. So you have to get out of what's this little comfort zone that you're in that makes you feel so comfortable that if something happens or changes, that you just can't adjust, you can't focus, you can't accept the reality that change is here and the change is good for me in this moment. Take a moment to think about some of those thoughts, those beliefs, and the way that you act that are stopping you from taking action. Thoughts that have been implanted in your life from birth or childhood. Actions that you're used to and you're so accustomed to doing out of response, just out of natural response because you've done them all your life. And then the way you act, the way you confront things, the way you approach things, how does that look? What does that really look like? Are you approaching them with a mindset that I can do what I need to do, or you're approaching them with a thing of caution, like, I'm not quite sure, I don't know if this is for me, I don't know if I can do it. Change your behavior, your thought patterns, your beliefs, and the way that you act. That will help you begin to start taking steps and taking action to get where you want to be. Now the next thing I think is very important, and I think we have to spend a little time with it because it affects different people in different ways. And that is, you have to find out what's keeping you in the same cycle that you're in. What's keeping you in this loop, in this cycle, this constant repetitive cycle that you always find yourself in when you get to a certain point. When you get to a certain point, you're right back where you started because the same cycle is constantly repeating itself. You need to find out why you have the I can'ts, the I'm not sure, maybe I shouldn't, what am I thinking? These are all thoughts and actions that have been planted in your mind. They've been there because you're so used to them. You're so used to saying them all the time that when you run up on something, bam, that's the first thing you come up with. Oh, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Maybe I shouldn't do it. What am I thinking? This is not for me. It could be fear, something as simple as fear, but you have to understand that it may be something deeper than fear. It may be something that is triggered by the action that you're getting ready to approach. Maybe it's something that happened when you were younger. Maybe it's something that happened as an adult. Whatever it is, you got to find out what that trigger is that's causing you and stopping you from taking action. if we're all honest, we understand that fear is one of the leading reasons why we don't take action. It's not the only one, but I believe the one thing that we don't deal with is the constant thought within ourselves that keeps saying why we can't do something. That trigger when we get to a certain point that makes us feel like this is too far and we have to turn around. We have to learn how to work through those limiting beliefs, those beliefs that make us feel like we can't do something. What is that? Find out what your trigger is. Just say you were a little kid and you used to like to go outside and run, but every time you ran, you fell. Something tripped you up or you fell over something. So now, as an adult, every time you go outside and you think about running, you hesitate. You pause because there's a trigger of remembering when you were young that you fell down every time you ran. So you have to figure out, how do I overcome this? How do I get past this trigger of thinking that I can't run because of something that happened in the past? It's our thoughts. It starts with your thoughts. You have to change your thoughts. You're in a cycle that says, oh, if I run, I'm going to fall. So what am I going to do? I'm not going to run because I'm going to fall. One of the biggest challenges for me was overcoming the fact that I can't do something is I like to cook. I've learned at an older age that I like to cook. And one of the things that I wanted to learn how to cook was gravy. I've seen my mother, my aunts cook gravy, and I said, well, maybe I'm going to give it a try. Now, if you've ever cooked gravy, it's not hard, but it's not easy. So I decided, well, I'm going to try to make this gravy. But I had to decide that, now I've never done it. I've seen it. It looks hard. Be honest with you, I was scared because I didn't know if I was going to burn it up, burn the house up, because gravy deals with some ingredients that will go boom if you don't watch what you're doing. So I had to tell myself that it was okay to try to make some gravy. That it was okay to take the steps that I wanted to in order to make the gravy because it was something I wanted. I had to get from where I was to where I wanted to be. Where I was at the point where I was afraid, I was hesitant, and I kept saying I can't do it because of all of these barriers that I had put in front of myself. I'm going to burn it up. I'm going to burn the house up. It's just not going to be good. Those are thoughts and actions that I put within myself that caused me to hesitate when it came to being able to make this gravy. So what did I have to do? I had to slowly begin to walk out this process of making gravy. I had to take the ingredients. I had to shake it off. I had to put this in, stir this, turn this, and before you knew it, I made some gravy. I'll be honest with you now, it took me about 10 or 12 times to get it, but I made some good gravy finally. But I could have never done it if I hadn't changed the way I thought about the process of making gravy. If I had stayed stuck in the moment of thinking that I'm going to fail, I'm not going to succeed, I'm afraid to do it because of all of the things that could happen. We don't know what could happen if we start to do something. The only way to find out what could happen is by doing it, taking those steps, putting in that action, doing what it takes to get it done. When we walk through the challenges that are before us, what does that do? That builds our confidence. That helps us to become stronger. That builds our mindset. It helps our mind to understand that we can do it. We're confident now. We're stronger. We can take the action and the steps that are needed because we have a new belief system. We're no longer worried about the I can'ts, the why I shouldn't, oh, this is not for me. We're focused on now that I can do it because now I'm confident. Look at successful people. They don't make excuses. They don't find reason to say why I can't do something. They attack it. They go straight to it. They make it happen. They work on the mind. They clear the thoughts of I can and why I can't do something. And they focus on what it is I want to achieve. So the second thing was get out of the cycle that's got you going in this loop. What has you going in this same loop over and over and over? We need to figure out what that is. Figure out what those triggers are, those common things that make us get to a point and make us stop. Once we figure that out, we can find ways to help us to deal with them. That's a process. It's not going to come overnight. Yeah, you're afraid to run, but you can't just go outside and start running and think that's going to figure it out. No, you go outside, you start taking steps, you start getting faster, you start getting faster, you start getting faster, and before you know it, you've built enough confidence in this process to run again. To run again. But what did you do? You changed your mindset. You changed your thought process. You understood that you wanted to do something. You wanted to go from where you were to where you want to be. And that takes actions. And that takes time. And that takes understanding. And it takes steps, small steps. You don't have to run out there and just leap and jump into something, no matter what it is. If it's running, if it's walking, if it's building a business, starting a new business, whatever it is, you have to take small steps. It's not going to come overnight. It's not going to just magically appear. These are actions and steps and processes that you have to work through to get you to where you want to be. The next step is you have to understand that there's no such thing as the right time or the perfect situation. No such thing as the right time or the perfect situation. You know, what is the right time? When you feel like it, when your fears settle down, when someone else says it's okay to do it. There's no such thing as the right time or the perfect situation. It's called doing it now. In life, there's always going to be something that gives you pause or gives you a reason to say why you can't do something right now. That's a play on the mind. That's a mindset issue of you thinking why I can't do something. And that's because you're waiting on what you call the right time. What you're waiting on is what you call the perfect situation. And I'm going to tell you, that doesn't exist. There's no such thing as the right time or the perfect situation. There's something that's called act now. Act right now. Do it now. If you want to see something happen, you can't just sit around and wait on this perfect situation where all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, the grass is green on this side, the water's flowing good over here, the sun is shining bright. No. You have to act now. You have to quit making reasons why you can't do something because the situation is not perfect. There's no such thing as the right time or perfect situation. So understand that. Get that thought out of your mind. Get that cycle loop out of your mind. Well, I'm going to go out and start this business today. I can't do it until I get X amount of dollars in the bank. No. You can do anything you want to do now if you change the way you think about it. Change your mindset, change your thoughts, change your actions. You can do it now. The last and the final thing to taking action is take the first step. You have to take the first step. Clear your mind of the fear and the doubt. Stop waiting on the perfect situation. Take the first step. Your goals can be achieved if you allow your mind to change, to allow your thoughts to change. It will allow you to take the first step. Now, it doesn't have to be a big step. You just need to take a step in the right direction. Muhammad Ali said, even the greatest was once a beginner. Don't be afraid to take the first step. Always equate taking the first step to a baby walking. Now, baby is crawling for, 3 or 4 months. And that baby has to finally decide, well, I'm tired of crawling. I'm ready to get up. I'm ready to walk. Now, for a baby, it's going to be a little frightening. It's going to be a new change because they're used to crawling. They're used to doing something a certain way, just like us. We're used to doing things a certain way. So now we face this part where we need to change. So that baby has to change the way they think and the way they approach. So they'll start pulling up on things, walking around the house, pulling up on things, wiggling those little legs, taking that little step. And before you know it, they're walking. They're walking. They started with small steps. Now you can't even catch them. They're so fast. But what did the baby do? The baby took a course of action. It started here. First, the baby said, I want to walk. I'm going to walk. So how do you do that? The baby started pulling up, exploring new things, finding new things to help them to achieve what they want to achieve, and using that to position you to where you want to go. So that baby pulled up and started using that leverage to begin walking. That's what you have to do. You have to find the things to leverage you, to allow you to begin doing the steps and the things that you want to get you from where you are to where you want to go. I often tell people it's so much easier to change to what you say than to change the way you think. It's easier to change what you say than to change what you think. And that's what we have to work on, what we think. The way we think about things, the way we approach things, the way we look at things, the way that we plan out a course of action to achieve the things that we want. Hopefully we can take what we've heard today and apply it to our lives. First, you begin by what? Changing your behavior. Then you find out what is keeping you going in that same cycle. Then you understand that there's no such thing as a right situation or a perfect situation. Then you take the steps that you need to get to where you want to be, getting you from where you are to where you want to be. Thanks so much for joining me here at Man on a Mission. I hope you can take these steps to get you from where you are to where you want to be so that you can take the action you need to be the person that you want to be. Have a great day and see you on the next video.